Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and apparently it's happened. I've become an arms dealer. Judd, the Australian Nerf cowboy, contacted me around Black Friday when everything went stupid cheap because he wanted 20 Chronoses. And they can't get those in Australia, so he wanted me to order them, have them shipped here, and then somehow smuggle them to Australia?
You haven't got the authority to banish me to the Pacific. You're not British. Tim Tams.
I'm not sure what's going on anymore.
And many more.
Right! We're going to answer questions whilst wearing silly hats. There will be some footage from crew answering questions, and there will be a mighty opening of Chronoxen and eating of Tim Tams. What is on my head?
A hat. It keeps the flies away.
Huh. Is that actually what it's about?
Yeah, that's legitimately what they're for.
I thought it was just weird.
No. Flies are a big pest in Australia, and that keeps them away.
Interesting. That is, you learn something new every day. All right. Now, all the questions. Who are you?
Judd, the Aussie Nerf cowboy. We've covered this.
Yes, but there may be people out there who don't know.
Well, I'm a cowboy from Australia who nerfs, as such.
Yes.
I like hammer shots.
what do you think of my wall of hammer shots?
There's a mathematical formula for that.
Yes.
That a friend of mine equated. It's the amount of hammer shots you need is n plus 1.
Yes.
N being the current amount you have.
Yes.
Then my addition was n plus 2 because they should never be lonely.
You should always have a pair. You should never have an odd number of hammer shots.
Exactly.
That would be silly. We've got 2 hands. Right. We're going to answer all of the questions. Some of them, like I said, there are video answers from the crew, and I'll edit those in. This is going to be a nightmare to edit, but it's going to be interesting. And then we'll answer other ones where you will represent the crew in this case.
Oh, hey. Oh, that's right. You want something?
Hey, here's a reasonable question. Riker Johnson, how did all of the crew become crew?
Well, I
Here you
founded
go.
it, so there's that.
The crew is in some ways kind of like the Mandalorians. You just become a part of it no matter who you are, as long as you embrace the culture. For me, I was there at the beginning. I helped organize it, but people have come along the way from strange situations, from all sorts of places. Just being the right place at the right time and wanting to be part of something.
I'm in the local Nerf group with the captain, and a group of people were looking at going down to Ragnar Oktoberfest. Trip was being organized by the captain and Corporal Rook, I believe. And I got invited. I was at a place in my life where I kind of needed to get out of town for a week anyway, so it was great. Went down, did the game, had a great time, didn't think anything of it. At this point, didn't know about the crew, did not know about the ideas for the auxiliary, any of it. About 3-4 weeks later, got a message from the captain saying, hey, you did really well at this game. This is an idea that I have, and I would like you to be part of it. Would you be interested? And after that, it was all going through the steps to join, and love it.
I became crew when I became Captain Xavier's squire. He gave me the red belt and everything, and that's when I became officially part of the crew. I had kind of been, with the crew since I was a kid, because that's when we started going, but I wasn't officially part of the crew until I became a squire. I am still technically his squire because I never got enough points for knighthood, and life happened and whatnot, and so I never went to knighthood. I was close for archery, though.
I was invited.
He was recruited.
Apparently, I'm competent or something.
Something. I saw him fight at WSU, and that was like, oh yeah, I'm him, and I'm making him a sergeant as soon as he makes rank.
I was also recruited.
He's one of the most recent recruits, actually.
Also recruited.
There's
I'll take my leave.
a reason he's still a recruit. Like they're all recruited. How did you get into the auxiliary?
I saw the post and I was thinking of starting a group similar, but then you did it and I was like, sweet, I don't have to do any of the work.
Excellent.
So I joined.
So he formed the auxiliary because he is from Australia, and I love that so much.
Yeah, my girlfriend made the name, which is
Bardic.
It was fantastic.
It was. It's like, oh, auxiliary. And
She's
then
made a little patch, which is a redback spider
Yeah.
with green and gold background.
Mm-hmm.
With green background, black spider, but instead of a redback, it's got the auxiliary patch.
It's good stuff. Art majors, man.
Yeah. She got to get some use out of that degree.
Why did each of you join the crew to follow our beloved captain? Well, for me it was because, I really looked up to Chaylo because he's my big brother, and he's been my father figure for my life, and so I was really just a, I want to be like my brother kind of thing. And I also loved the crew. They're all so nice. Of course they treated me a little bit better than maybe the average Joe. Like, they wouldn't do the little punch jokes or whatever just because, they didn't want to mess with the captain's little sister. So everybody was super nice and, did anything I ever wanted to, but I'm not the kind that orders people around because that's Chaylo.
I think humanity would be better off, for the good, if more fun for everyone was more universally practiced.
To be perfectly frank, because he asked me to. I had no idea that it was even a thing, and he explained it to me and offered me a spot, and I have not looked back since. I have been thrilled and honored with everything that we've gotten to do.
It seemed like the right thing to do at the time. In fact, the real reason is there was a strange, senile old man goose-stepping up and down a line of all the fighters in the room and making their lives miserable and telling them that you are not here to have fun. You are here to learn. This is about history, and fun is not involved. Yeah, me and Chaylo took one look around and went, that's stupid.
What? Kenneth Gadula Abuangada. Got that. Alternate silly question. Would you rather ride a unicorn into battle or a dire wolf?
Dire wolf.
A dire wolf. We live in the Pacific Northwest. A lot of heavy terrain. I know that wolves can move through that, so if I was riding one, it would be less trippy than a horse. And I'd really appreciate that. And maybe we could share dinner. I don't know. That'd be cool.
I would rather ride a unicorn into battle because if it's the horse style, not the deer style. If it's the deer style, yeah, I'd still probably go with the deer style. If it's more of the horse style of unicorn, because I'm an archer, I need a more stable movement like a horse than a dire wolf. Because a dire wolf, they're gonna kick up way more, and I can't shoot anything when it's like that. So, unicorn.
Sure, yeah. Please, never let me answer much. Thanks.
Direwolves get killed, unicorns are magical.
I suppose...
Brett's small enough you could actually ride a dire wolf.
I suppose my answer might be reconsidered. Though a unicorn would be interesting. I mean, unicorn can fly, right? So.
No, that's Pegasus.
No, however,
But what
unicorns are attractive birds.
How is that useful?
Mythically speaking.
I will go with unicorn because I know how to ride a horse.
Really?
Yeah.
You think you know a man?
I guess Sorry, it never came up.
This is true.
It never.
Well, I guess we're forming a cavalry division now. Last
I
time I
wouldn't
was close
say
enough to a horse to ride it, it tried to bite my throat out.
horse. Yeah. I wouldn't say no to a dire wolf, but I don't know.
I
More experience with horse.
think unicorn fits you better personally. I would go with if the dire wolf was large enough to actually support me, I would go with that. 'Cause I don't think the unicorn would like me much. Though technically speaking, it's been so long, I do qualify as a virgin again, according to the Catholic Church. I can wear white at a wedding again. Yeah, how about that?
Nobody said the dire wolves couldn't be pulling a chariot.
That's true. Leonard Rozdowski. Yes? Did I do well? Rozdowski.
Rodolski.
Rozdowski.
Question for Brett. Do you have any other favorite hat besides the beret? Beret is love, beret is life. Wait, that should
But it is.
It is.
But
None
it
of those
is.
questions.
I like wearing my phone blast hat too.
Hmm.
I also wear my paradox beanie a lot now too. It's cold.
Nathan Talisi, who I believe gave me this hat, and many of these hats actually. They used to send me a lot of hats.
We had to go get boxes.
I have multiple train! One, for the crew. Any or all who care to answer. What is the silliest thing you have seen done by the captain?
Well, I've known Chaylo since he was a noob. Chaylo, how much money do you have on you?
I feel I have a unfair advantage to the gruesome details about Captain Xavier, so I'm gonna go ahead and plead the fifth.
Believe it or not, in real life, he's a pretty silly dude. I know he comes across super serious in all the videos, but honestly, he's just a funny human being. And pretty much any time that we're hanging out, me and him and any contingent of the crew, it's a good laugh the whole time. Nothing in particular on field or off, it's just all of it.
Well, I really like it that he keeps slipping into posh reaver. It makes me happy.
Well, specifically the captain versus Chaylo, very different things. Probably the silliest thing I've seen the captain do with my own two eyes was when he walked up to court wearing the prize of the golden skull that he won as a codpiece. Needless to say, some of the court was not impressed, and some of them were on the floor laughing. That's probably the silliest thing that comes to mind, so, yeah.
Silly? Silly. I've never done anything silly in my life. I'm the very model of seriousness and decorum.
It was these tactics that brought the humans to their dismay.
Absolutely. They'll simply... Surely being delicious is an evolutionary flaw.
Well, if they didn't taste so good, we wouldn't chase them.
It's absolutely absurd. I mean, why make yourself taste like good salted pork if you don't want to be made into a barbecue sandwich?
The best pork is long pork.
Indeed! And I feel the adrenaline for being chased gives it that gamey taste that you just don't get from your suburban humans.
It's divine.
Merch available in the description below.
I'm not wearing merch.
You are merch.
I'm a content monkey.
Kilted, bearded Tommy. You're wearing a Tommy hat. How many Mowglis is the maker space? All of the
I
Mowglis.
think I can hear him. Don't think about it. You'll be
Don't
better
think about
off.
it. Yeah, anywhere you are at any given time is a Schrodinger's Mowgli. There may or may not be a Mowgli. There could be a Mowgli in my hat. You don't know.
Better off not thinking about it.
Your head will get all wibbly. Super Cool Justin. That's not a presumptuous name or anything. Number 1. Would you consider making a drop cylinder Doominator?
I wouldn't.
No. Take that! Ha! Direct hit! Mad Hatter, what is your individual favorite moment of the crew since you joined the crew?
We were outnumbered 2-1, surrounded the enemy, and made them surrender.
What do we do when we do not wish to incriminate ourselves, Zoe? We plead the fifth.
Crewman recruit, so I'm working on that. But after World Spring 2019, I got to menace the Afterworlds players and some of the most experienced ones as they came back from hibernation and they exited the hive. Cap gave me Frigga to stay in the tower with, and it was really priceless to get to see the most established, some of the most experienced characters psyching themselves up, not knowing what was on the other side of the wall, and then getting to see them react as their players and their characters. It was a really happy moment. It was really nice to be a part of.
I would say probably the fighting retreat, the last mission that we were alive at End War last year. The big thunderstorm, the break in the action, and then when we came back online and the captain launched into the Norse death prayer, "Lo, there do I see my fathers," and the next line, the crew was with him, and then the next line, the auxiliary who stayed behind with us was in with us. And, you know, there were a lot of Zeds that we watched that saw that happening, and they noped out. That was such a cool moment for us. Very fun. And honestly, I would love it if we got to have another big moment like that at the next HVZ that we play at. I would be honored and delighted.
Probably the one Crown War where we met the person we were fighting for Emperor. Just the whole event. Like, it was, for me it was a big deal because I had wrote a song and played it for an arts entry, and the Emperor himself was saying how he lamented that there wasn't as much music as it is down where he's from. He was from Florida, and they had a big thing for music. And the only ones who really played music were me and my mother. And so he attended my performance of my piece that I wrote. And so that made me incredibly nervous, because I was only like 11, 12 at the time. I didn't score very well because it was written by a 12-year-old, but he wanted me to play it in front of court because he wanted to showcase music and how important it is for building atmosphere. And my lord, there's a picture of me. I'm in this like raggedy shirt and trousers, and I'm just sitting there playing my little fife for him. So that was like a big deal for me at the time. And I also was the one who got us the archery point for that one, which will be in a later question.
Oh, no, there are way too many. I've been with the crew for more than a decade and a half now. Way too many. Kidnapping the Emperor was a good one. Or rather, being acknowledged by the Emperor that the crew was a sovereign entity, that was a high point. Having the mods come to us at End War and ask us to tone it down.
That was fun.
That was kind of a, well, I guess we just won End War. All right, let's go die. We did what we came for.
That was a good time.
That was a good time. What about you? You've been with the auxiliary for a while now.
I've only really done End War with the auxiliary, and again, yeah, getting told to slow down by the mods is pretty fun. I liked the eagerness of some people to just break off and explore. That was fun. With you in the command column, and I'm like, I'm just going to go harass those 12 zombies over there.
Please do.
Can
and it
someone
worked well.
Follow me? And then Riley did with the, I can't remember the Vortex Blaster name, but it was like a little 5-shot thing and a blowgun. He's like, I got your back. I'm like, that's all I need.
Yep.
It was fun. We came back. Zombies thought they had us.
Yep. AJ Rudensky. This question is for the entire crew. What blaster mod would you most want to do or build?
I'm not really so much a builder as more a user. I mean, I build medieval weapons and modern weapons. I rely on Chaylo mostly to build modifications. I have done a battery supply voltage mod just because I like reliable equipment. But of one thing I would like to see Chaylo build, it would be a Nerf Bren gun.
A build-it-yourself Jupiter proton pack. Yep. I like HVZ. That sounds really cool. And mostly, even without the proton pack, I think it would roll out the Hades takedown Jupiter HVZ rival loadout that I'd like to run. Because right now I'm definitely stuck on hammers.
For me, I like quirky and weird builds. I like doing loadouts that I call awfuls, stuff that's just not practical but fun. So if it's something that I can do that would be unique and weird and fun, I'm into it. There's nothing specific. Just a lot of strange. I do have a Hailfire that I'm planning on doing some stuff to. We'll see if that gets done. That'll be fun.
I like chrono mags. Stop. I like chrono mags.
I would like a backpack-fed minigun mounted on a treaded Polaris Ranger. I want an ATV.
Yeah. I was going to say you're halfway there.
Yep, I just need the all-terrain vehicle to mount it to.
What do you want? Well, I'm kind of getting them in this trip. I wanted a Talon Claw, and Ryan's built me one. And I wanted a Magpie, and Valor's built me one of those as well, so...
Well, there you are, then.
I didn't even have to build them. I just throw money at people to do my things for me.
No, that'll work. All right. Second question, just for the captain. Have you ever tried Adventure Force Rival Ammo? Yeah, I got a drawer full of it. It's fabulous. It's in my colors. Still looks like cheese balls, though.
Don't eat them.
These ones are cheese balls. I wouldn't eat them. They've been there for like 2 years.
I was going to ask about that.
One of the boxes has been opened. The other one is still sealed, so it might be as fresh as cheese balls ever are. The other one, I'm kind of surprised they're still orange and not green.
I'm not going to eat either of them.
It's a solid plan there. I am going to eat this Tim Tam now.
Yeah, delicious.
That's they are.
Have to give you a Tim Tam Slam later.
Yes! Leora told me about those.
They are.
People are like, it's not a thing. It's like, it's a thing.
It's good stuff.
I have some mint hot chocolate.
Well, that's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Just corner, sit it like a straw, then eat it.
Yeah. Sounds fabulous. Brother Baby, Funyuns or Fritos?
Funyuns or Fritos? Is hamburger an option?
Fritos, because Frito pie, right?
Definitely Fritos. I'm a corn chip guy.
I'll have to go Fritos. Thank you very much.
Alright.
Feather came out of it.
I'm not surprised. The Model Railwayman. How very dare you, sir?
That was my brain.
The question for the captain and any crew members going to FoamFest. Would you be interested in organizing an auxiliary meetup during the day or on the evening, the night before or after?
I have no idea when that is or if I'll be available, but yes, the auxiliary should meet up. It's social activities is definitely part of the thing that builds camaraderie and makes us a cohesive team. The crew, after every fight, every session, we would go out, steal a table at A&W, and have a chat telling stories of our culture and where we've been, where we're going, our hopes and dreams. It's absolutely crucial.
Yeah, we're going to have a table. And there will be shenaniganery. And I think we're going to the war before and the war that evening, and I have no idea what's going on the next day. I think I'm getting shanghaied by the Dutch.
Care to elaborate?
No.
Okay.
Trip Miller. What is your role? Infantry, heavy, etc., and how does it work within the crew, such as working together and stuff?
My role? I am a heavy infantryman. Arguably medium infantry. I once chased down 2 zombie runners in full body armor, about 40 pounds of equipment. Chased them for about 2 miles and got a tag. So, highly mobile infantry, but heavy.
I'm a crewman recruit, so I'm getting into my role within the crew, and I really prefer a medium or light infantry loadout. I really enjoy carrying multiple hammer shots. If the game allows it, the Zing Zax is immaculate. And I always have a Cyclone on me for, heavies. But it depends on the rules of the game. If the caps were just a little bit higher, it might be a more sharpshooter type loadout. But I really like this because I can move fast.
I said it before. I'm a scout. I'm recon and light infantry. As such, my job is to follow my sergeant's orders and do what they need done. If they need a spot scouted, if they need to know what they're going into up ahead, I will deal with that. If they just need me on the line fighting, I'm on the line fighting. Not much to it other than that. How do you, within your role, synergize with the rest of the crew? One of the major things with the crew as a whole is that we train together. We've learned how to do what we do together. Our connection makes a really big difference. The fact that the first time that I fought side by side with Lieutenant Wolfric was at End War last year. But we have the same tactics drilled into us, and we have the same combat ideology, the same ideas for how to do things. And honestly, it was fairly seamless. It was very easy for me to just go, all right, this guy's giving me an order, follow the order, here we go. I would say that being as close as I am with the crew that I know makes a huge difference with how we synergize. Knowing my teammates' playstyle and how they operate makes it easier for me to operate.
I am usually non-combatant. I usually do side stuff like water bearing or the arts or stuff like that. If I do battle, I am usually either infantry or archery. I'm pretty good at archery, but otherwise, yeah, that's what I specialize in. How does my role synergize with the rest of the crew? I'm usually a support in that I make sure everybody's hydrated, I make sure people get their electrolytes and all that jazz, make sure they've eaten, and if I don't do that, no, they won't do it through themselves. They're too busy. So I gotta make sure they do that. And then with archery, I try to pick off, the certain threats before they even get close. And if I'm in an infantry role, I'm usually, if we're in a line, I'm usually near one of the ends, not on the end, because that's not a little too much. I'm usually near one of the ends, doing a shield roll.
Well, I typically play heavy infantry, and this year I will definitely be playing the very epitome of heavy infantry. And I'm in charge, so that's how it works. What do you usually run?
I'm a chaos agent. I don't really follow.
Feral. He's a feral.
I like
kind of a feral hunter, and you generally go dual wield
hammer shots.
Yeah, which it worked. You were there with us until the end to the last mission. You didn't die that much sooner before the rest of the.
Everyone thought I wasn't going to be able to make it with just a pair of hammer shots, but they forgot I had an extra 6 shots on the back with a 4 victory and a dual strike.
Yeah, plus you were surrounded by crews. You're like, I've got plenty of time to reload.
Yeah, it was just fun when I ran away.
Yeah.
Nicholas Mozzarella. What time period or source of style do you draw from to come up with the battle plan for any given engagement, or is it all your own? It is entirely based on the situation in which we are provided. My favorite period in history is ancient Rome, and one thing that I've learned from the Romans is be adaptable. If your enemy comes up with something freaking brilliant, take it, file the serial numbers off of it, incorporate it in your own. For medieval warfare, we beat up medieval armies with Roman infantry time and time and time again. Combined arms warfare is the way to go. For modern HVZ, it's riot control tactics. For fighting real-world enemies, it's urban or wildland tactics.
That one's a little interesting for me. I don't know the amount of medieval strategy that a lot of the old school crew do. I only know what the captain has shared with me and what he and I have discussed together. Modern military tactics lend themselves a bit to my particular play style, which is more hit and run. And I'm a scout. I run. That's what I do. As far as that goes, it is literally my own estimation of how to handle it. Captain's told me if he gives me a job, it's up to me to determine how I do it. So, always interesting.
Modern small unit tactics, and everything that has possibly been gleanable from past HVZs. Because in this case, we're talking about HVZs. PvP, a lot of those games, I just like them silly.
That looks entirely too good on you. It's so fitting, it's despicable. Dagger. Haha.
It happened again.
And I lost my questions. Conquistador on your own time, sir. Worker. Q&A. Do you think a mag strike master key is a good idea? I am going to defer this one to the Jankmeister.
Yes.
Yes, a master key is always a good idea. If you can fit it on there, and you can reliably have a secondary device attached to your main weapon, yes, go with it.
Bonbon. Do you know any HVZ in Britain? And will you go to them? I don't, but I would were I not on the other side of the planet. I don't think there are any... I don't know if Foam Fest has an HVZ game. I think they announced the schedule, but I haven't been paying attention. I'm just going to get on the airplane, and whatever happens until I get back on the airplane is going to be a blur, and I'm okay with that. I've got auxiliary planning my itinerary. It's going to be, get in the car, eat this thing, go to here, pull the trigger. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
One of the many advantages of having your own private international militia.
That's what I've done here for this trip.
Yeah, he's just showing up. You're like, hi, let's do stuff. Like, stuff will happen.
It has been fun stuff.
The Tribunal of the Imagination. Have you yet seen the Netflix adaptation of The Witcher? And if so, what do you think of it, Sarah? Of course I have, and it's fantastic.
It is.
I've never played the game, obviously, and I hadn't read the books either. Apparently, the show actually does follow the books fairly well.
I've heard that it even, the books predate Game of Thrones, so everyone's saying it's a Game of Thrones ripoff. It's actually Game of Thrones is a Witcher ripoff.
Yes, it's all a Lord of the Rings ripoff, so, I mean, what are you going to do?
But remember, toss a coin to your Witcher.
Yes, yes. If you're at a Ren Fair and you see someone dressed as a Witcher, like, have plastic coins or chocolate coins and just huck it at them. No, be nice.
They will kill you. They're witches.
Yeah, get into it. It's actually kind of neat. There's gonna be a lot of good stuff. Have you heard the rumor that Mark Hamill might play his mentor?
Oh, I hope so.
Right, because have you seen Nightfall?
No.
It's another Netflix show where it's the fall of the Templars.
Oh yes, I did see that.
And he's the old mentor.
Mark Hamill is?
Yes.
How did I miss
that? The guy
that?
with the squinty eye and the gravelly voice? It's Mark Hamill.
Honest to God, I didn't even know that.
It took me a while. There was like that inkling of, And then I saw it in the credits. You're like, aha! And then and when you know it, him, it's like, he really is good at
everything.
His voice.
I mean, he's the Joker.
Yes. You lost your hat.
I did.
New
because
hat.
I was ashamed.
As well you should be. Ha! Ah! 2 hits in a row! Zenic White. I've just got a Vulcan, and I want to put a plywheel cage in it from a Strife. Or something similar. How would I go about doing that? Luckily, we have discussed this amongst the crew.
I'm not sure that you can. That's going to be a Chaylo question. We'll send that to R&D.
Well, the trick, of course, is acquiring a Strife. A Strife. I believe they were discontinued back in 35.
35? I thought
Yeah.
it was 34.
You could still get them in 35, but
Okay.
you know, in certain parts of the country where the Depression was particularly bad, they were more rare.
Okay.
But at this point, the plywheel cages in those have, I think, pretty much degraded.
For the most part, some in Arizona held out. Oh, some in Arizona actually held out fairly well.
Air climate, yeah.
So if you can find one from like California, Arizona area, you may still be able to use it.
Do you have a preference on plywheel cages from Strifes?
We talked about this a little bit earlier. 2-ply at least.
2-ply. Yeah, you gotta have the 2-ply.
Not the 1-ply.
If you only have 1-ply from your Strife, that's just not going to get you the quality that you're looking for.
Always 2 there are. No more, no less.
What are your thoughts on plywheel cages?
As long as they're old enough.
All right.
Hello.
So in all seriousness, the Sergeant Deplorable here is known as Sergeant Deplorable because he developed the Deplorable. There is now parts on Thingiverse. There's just a part you can print that allows you to mount. I think it's either its own cage.
No, it's a rapid strike or a strife cage.
Oh, okay, so yeah, or so it'll take like Nick's cases or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, if you have just ignorant amounts of money that you want to throw to Germany, you can get the RE Armory barrel that has the flywheels built into it, which is just sexy on a level that shouldn't be around those Germans. Are we boring you too?
No, I'm talking about something completely on topic.
Yes. Also yes.
You didn't have the Demolisher rocket.
He did actually.
You remember
I
that?
should have known. What? What?
Remember that time when I was at your old place and we were discussing, and I was opening a package and I opened something below the frame and it looked a little odd. I was discussing that. Okay. Edit that out.
Walls. Now you have it. James Wright. What crew? What would be your dream blaster to build?
It would definitely be a Bren gun.
A Magna Demolisher. A combination of a Demolisher 2-in-1 and a Magnus. I like stripes. They're great. They're fast and handy. But I like the ergo a lot more of the Demolisher 2-in-1. And I'd really like to put a Magnus on the front end instead of the rocket launcher, because I can carry more ammo.
Honestly, all of my builds, it's my current dream to finish that one. Once it's done, the dream changes to whatever I have in the works next. So right now, my Demolisher. Once that's done, my Hailfire. Once that's done, who knows? We'll see what we get next.
Well, the Magpie.
Well, there you are then.
It exists.
And I want a backpack-fed mini gun.
On an ATV.
On an ATV. Number 2, for the captain. Why are you such a lovable dafty? How very dare you? We're filming here. Childhood trauma. 3, crew. 3, did you go through a Yu-Gi-Oh phase?
No. No.
Nope.
9.
A what?
You like Pokemon?
Oh,
what?
Like it's Pokemon, yeah.
No. Magic, Star Realms. I really like Zombicide.
No. A friend tried to get me into Yu-Gi-Oh cards and I just could not deal with it.
Yes. Those are dark times.
No.
I did not go through a Yu-Gi-Oh phase, but I did go through a Pirates phase, which were the ones that you build little tiny ships. That was so fun. I had it for a long time, and I gave my collection to Chaylo, because anytime I play it's with him, so I might as well just leave it with him. And then I went through it was like the little horse cards where you could play online. And then I went through, like, I loved collecting. I love collecting still, so cards were one of those where it was easy to keep small, so I just loved cards, like, looking through them. But I didn't go specifically through a Yu-Gi-Oh phase. I went through other phases.
No. Oh, actually, no, that's a lie, I did. When I was in high school. But I couldn't afford the cards, so I stopped.
That is the problem. If you want to, parents, if you want to make sure your children never get into drugs, get them in the Magic the Gathering.
Trading card games.
Never have money for drugs. They might sell your microwave to buy more Magic cards, but they won't be selling it to buy meth.
They might sell meth to buy Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes!
Probably shouldn't put that one in.
This is never going to make it to air, if you know what I mean. J.K. Question for the captain, or Lieutenant Wolfric. Do you actually have physical commission documents for your ranks? And if so, what do they say and look like? Seems like the sort of thing you would totally have made up at some point in one world.
Yes, they have commissions. In fact, the captain was commissioned by a dead king who is... You know what, sir? How much do you have on you about paying me to keep my mouth shut?
No, we don't actually have commission documents. There does exist the crew's letter of marque, which was signed by a now dead king while he was hopped up on morphine while he was dying of cancer, which was too good for him. But there isn't actually a letters of commission. No. Chris McDonald. Can I get that hat that you're wearing so that I can copy the design and I can send you something like that?
Which one?
I think he's talking about the one I was wearing in the last Q&A, which was the auxiliary beanie, as opposed to earlier I was wearing the X-Strike beanie. Merch in the links below. BZ, question for the crew. What is your tale of glory?
You know, probably my best one is in one of Captain's story times. It's when I sucker punched a zombie at point blank range with an RPG. But I've had a lot of them. I nailed a guy across the field in his codpiece, which was a giant target, with a musket shot from the other side of another ship. I've held the line on thousands of occasions. No, the best one. Second Banner War. Or not Second Banner War, Second Border War. Or War with Oregon. And they didn't listen to the rules very well. So they thought when they got killed they had to drop everything they were carrying. So I went out on a sally party, we pushed back the enemy, and I started picking up all the equipment on the ground. Arrows, bows, swords, shields. And the enemy reforms and comes up at us, and our guys start falling back, and I'm still grabbing stuff. Not even worried about the fight, just grabbing stuff. They kind of roll up to me, kind of cautiously, like, what's he doing? Because I don't understand what he's doing. There's something going on here. Taps, you're dead. Yep. And with a full arm hold of stuff, ran back to our lines with all their equipment. And then just to see their just souls crush as they realized they'd been had was great. But I've had that effect a lot of times. Another one that's in story time is my crowning achievement was the psychological warfare, the sucker punch we pulled at the Lego robotics class. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Best psychological warfare I have ever done.
I played the 5th.
I'd have to say leading Omega Squad. My story would be leading Omega Squad at RAG in 2019.
18.
18. It was 18.
Start again.
Was it already 18?
Start
No,
again.
we can carry on.
Carry on.
All of this in there. But leading Omega during RAG during.
You should get a YouTube channel going. You are a natural.
I mean, most recent End War wasn't that bad though. Like going all the way to the end with a Maverick was pretty fun. Obviously, I wasn't on like the front lines taking out zombies to get to the next phase of everything, but I was still participating in, you know, trying to contribute at the close to front lines. So I did something, and it wasn't like I just hid in the center with other folks. So I put myself out there a couple times, too close to call, but that's part of the game. Though that being said, Foam Pro Tour after that was also pretty fun, because we did not think that our ragtag crew, we weren't ragtags, we were somewhat prepared, but we'd never met before, and we all came together in Georgia for the first time meeting each other at Mosley, and did like really well. So we're excited that went well. So that's a glorious tale, because my first round I got like four tags in the first game, so can't really beat that.
My tale of glory is joining the crew.
Sir?
I would say my tale of glory was leading Omega Squad during the final stand at Bragg in 2018.
This is not the first take.
Thanks, that's a great example. I'm glad you brought that
But
up.
actually, that really was thoroughly epic. I was there. You got a shield for it and everything.
Do you remember who gave you that?
No, you know,
They were just doling them out.
That's all you're getting at this point.
Within the crew, not much. But as a wider whole person, I'm a dad. So, I'm good.
Depends on how you define glory. I covered earlier my big moment, the last stand at End War. That was a huge moment for me. Beyond that, probably Posh Reavers. Posh Reavers have been one of the most amazing things that I have done with this group, and it is just pure madness and silliness, and I love everything about it. It's brilliant.
So this would be again the was it the one where I was talking about earlier where we fought for the Emperor. I got the point for archery, and it was a big deal because it was actually pretty neck and neck at that point for points, because the other team had a lot of arts entries that won, and it was crazy because I had actually gotten to the archery range early and was ready to go, and then people kept coming up like, could I go before you? I have this to go to in 10 minutes or whatever. And I had nothing else to do, so I was like, sure, yeah, go ahead, I don't care. And pretty much everyone went before me. I was one of the very last people to shoot. Chaylo went before me. He shot terrible that day. And then I think I was the second to last to shoot. And I got nearly a perfect score, which I was like shocked by, because I was like, good lord, okay, I didn't think it was that good. But I also hadn't really been paying attention, so I didn't know if I actually won or not. So then it was announced, and I was like, oh my god, that means I get I have to go up to court and stuff, which, again, I was like 11, 12, so I was like, no. But that was I think we only won by a few points, and mine was one of them, so I was like, oh my god, I did it. That was my tale of glory.
With the auxiliary and crew, or
No,
just
I think
individually?
just in general.
Being a survivor of Z-Town with just my friend, there was 2,500 people there, I think.
Good lord.
And only myself and my friend survived. And we did enough to earn extra lives, so we made it to the last stand, got swarmed. I got carried into the last stand by an NPC because I was cramped and tired and dehydrated. We just sort of like sat down and hid amongst all of the dead. They ignored us. The NPCs made it into the last stand waiting for survivors, and I just sort of like waved him down. He's like, are you alive? I'm like, yeah, can't walk. He took off his jacket, threw me over his shoulder, and just walked me into the zone.
Oh, a beast.
Yeah, I was screaming with the hammer shots out. It's good times.
That is pretty awesome.
When they wiped us out, still had an extra life. So we actually truly survived.
That is awesome. Clay Jones, how would you feel about air support? I saw a video a while back about a remote-controlled A10 with rival internals. Yeah, I've seen that video. It even sounds like a warthog firing when it comes at you. Downside is most HVZs are played in college campuses, which are no-fly zones. So you're not allowed to fly drones on them for risk of, falling out of the air on a co-ed. But I would love to have either actual, rockets or, buckets of darts being dropped by drones. But what I'd really like would be drone surveillance. Pretty sure gravity would be enough, but just Specs BC, just launching demolisher rockets.
Just rows of Specs BC.
I mean, that's the idea, right? If they can just get up high enough and have something fall on you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty hilarious.
But
if allowed.
Surveillance would be, like I said, would be far more valuable than trying to actually hit a target. But again, the issue is whether or not they're going to be allowed. Some might.
Yes. Everything we do, infantry occupies, but artillery conquers. You have air support, you have artillery. I am going to find a way to use it. And even if I can't use it, I will use a way to make the enemy think I can use it. Because what the enemy doesn't know is just as valuable as what they know.
I already wear iPro. Having to wear a helmet seems like a bit much. I'd rather we focus on corners and ambushes.
We might be able to use
a central base.
The ground ones for that.
Yeah, that as well. Ground
likely.
recon. The downside of those is because they're really easy to just walk up and tip over.
Yeah. If you're a zombie, just look at it. Just
I would love
know that I
I'd
did
like
this.
Hang gliders. Guys in hang gliders. I've often wanted that.
Cool.
We wanted to do that back in the medieval days because we were taking the arms race to the ridiculous levels, and then I got my hands on a copy of the Da Vinci Notebooks. And we're like, okay, this is in my time period, and I have tanks and hang gliders. I could have a tank corps and an air corps and have it be completely historically accurate because I've got the documentation right here. I've seen the models they built of his tank in Amboise in France. And I saw a video where they decided we're going to try to build some of his stuff.
Cool.
Much of it was never actually built.
Yeah.
It was all just theoretical. They decided to try to, let's give it a try. And so they had one where it was a crossbow that fired, rounds that you would normally fire out of a cannon or a trebuchet. And they're like, surely this won't work. And the engineers who were assigned it were like, obviously these stresses are all wrong, this won't work. So we're going to fix it, we're going to do it like this. And it didn't work. So they built it the way Da Vinci designed it, and it worked perfectly. They're like, huh. And then the hang glider, they built the hang glider exactly to his specifications, but what it didn't, they got the world champion hang glider and to pilot this thing. It's like, there is no way I'm going to strap that thing to me and jump off a cliff if it doesn't have a proper A-frame for steering, because I would just die. I wouldn't be able to steer it, and I would die. And there isn't one in the specs. And we're like, what can we do? So they went flipping through his notebooks and found in the corner of some picture what looked like a person standing in a triangle. And they went, good enough! And they did it. And they did it. They built it. The guy flew it. It flew perfectly. You're like, huh. Clearly this man was a time traveler.
Yeah.
And he's not actually buried in Amboise. He just got back in his time machine and went home. And I'm fairly certain it's actually my younger brother. He just hasn't built his time machine yet. Yet.
Probably hanging out with David Bowie somewhere.
One would hope. And Elvis.
Yeah.
Just rocking out.
Prince.
Yeah. Probably stoned out of their gourds.
Keith Richards, he probably knows where they are.
Probably their demon. Alright. Jacob, pull yourself together! Jacob MF. Should I send more silly hats? Yes. Look at what we've been reduced to. We're only on page 3.
How many more we got?
4. Full pages. We have but begun. Harpo marks. Are those the very same chips from the auxiliary training video? Fine. No.
They'd be very stale if they were.
Extremely. No, I ate the last of those in the end of the training video. I folded up the bag and everything.
Is it like a bag of holding for Fritos?
That would be awesome. Endless Fritos. Once a day it refills.
Every day at dawn.
Every day at dawn. Bipedal narwhal! Question for the crew. What is the absolute weirdest, unexpected thing that the crew's done at an event?
I don't think that there really is anything unexpected of us anymore, because we do weird stuff all the time. Back in our younger days, we did... we took part in a Toys R Us that was closing that was highly unscrupulous. But, yeah, no. Probably being there and helping was the most unexpected thing, because I don't think people really expect other people to help you. Especially the evil pirates.
Ha, no. I plead the fifth.
Posh Reavers.
You've probably heard about the Posh Reavers.
You is trash.
Oh, jeez.
So I says to the waiter, "What's this fly doing in my soup?" And he says, "Looks like the backstroke." So I ate him with the pishy slaw.
Oh, was that on menu?
No.
That's the best menu.
I penciled it in his blood.
I do have to know these places. Is there a Yelp for them?
McDonald's.
Oh, they Yelp when you bite them.
I'll give you something to yelp about. Arvox, Knight of Steel. Question for the crew. Out of all of you, who's the most ridiculous member?
Probably Gavin. He's kind of he's a bard. He's our funny guy. Ha! Ha ha ha!
Ridiculous? Isn't everyone ridiculous in their own way? Is it really fair to judge ridiculousness on a level?
Yeah,
that can be
no,
measured?
that's one of the few. Ridiculousness is one of the few universally defining features of members of the crew, locally anyway. There is no most ridiculous. I mean, that man wears a beret. This man is, in fact, it turns out, the incarnation of a goose.
I wondered where that was going.
We don't talk about Ryan.
No, please no.
John.
Do we talk about John?
I think we have.
Maybe not this video.
Maybe not this video. And Nick. And then there's this guy behind the camera that you can't see, but he's pretty ridiculous. But it all of the best. It's the best kind of ridiculous. You know, Danish ridiculous. Some people might actually get that reference, but most of you are uncultured swinehorns. I'm not. I'm the least ridiculous, I think.
I think you are the most.
Where is my wig?
Yes.
It's a rhetorical question. You rashy French hat wearing phone carry. Actually, he can pull it off.
Yeah.
You, sir, is strange.
But the good guy.
I'll take it.
The recent ambushes by Nikon during HVZ as a Z, it makes me happy.
It's either going to be me or Luchathor. I'm not sure which, but yeah.
Nick.
Logan Kunkel, is there a Lego set you're looking for? There are no Lego sets that I am not looking for. But any old pirate or old castle, that gets real expensive real quick. But I'll take anything. Any Lego set you feel like sending, you go right ahead. The Green Messer. To everyone except Captain Xavier.
What's your favorite thing about Captain Xavier?
Yes, why am I so great?
He's Captain Xavier?
Gross. He's an excellent combat leader.
And I look good in hats.
Not to mention wigs, oddly.
You like that? Do you like Chaylo and wigs?
Shouldn't have said
Also
that.
yes? Yeah. Here, you can say.
Also yes. My favorite thing about the cabin, he brought us here together. He's not wearing pants.
Favorite thing about Chaylo? Well, it's kind of cheap. It's a similar thing. He gets us all to come out here together and has space to take all of our stuff.
Yeah, we covered that earlier. More fun for everybody. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, gonna plead my Fifth Amendment rights there, good buddy.
You have to remember that we know him as a human being. We know his real person, not the character that he plays, not the character of Captain Xavier. I adore the Captain, but he's a very different person than Chaylo. Chaylo is one of the most honest, earnest people that I've known in my life. And that's something that you can't buy in this world. A person who you can just have a conversation with and know that you're getting the real deal from them. And that is one of my very favorite things about him as a human being. About Captain Xavier, that character is terrifying. Going into any kind of battle scenario with him on my side is magnificent. Because I can know that regardless of what the enemy is going to throw at us, he's got an idea. His unique battlefield strategy is an amazing thing to me.
I wasn't really aware of stuff until I was about, 9, 10, 11. Otherwise, I was just playing princess at the medieval events. So I wasn't really aware of the politics and all that jazz until later. And when I was, that's when Chaylo had kind of evolved his character to be more chivalrous normally and then ruthless on the battlefield. And that was something I very much admired because it showed that you knew when it was important to be human and when it was important to be a beast. And there's always the silly events and whatnot, but there are many occasions where, it just like pulls at your heartstrings or makes you just go, wow, that's a great person. And those moments were the ones that are probably my favorite thing is, you expect certain attributes and you expect a certain reaction from a character like that. And then when he was like, nope, just kidding, I'm gonna, make you feel like you're the cream of the crop kind of thing. That always makes you feel warm and fuzzy, and that's probably my favorite thing about the character of Captain Xavier.
Nothing.
Yeah. Mark Dahlia, what is your favorite melee weapon?
Gladius, combined with a Scuda. The Roman shield is the most effective single weapon I've ever used.
Regular sword and shield.
The fish. My fish, Loretta. Ha!
The Zing's axe. Woo! Zing's axe!
Depends on the day, and depends on the situation. For me, normally, I'm a crowbill guy. I'm trying to learn a little bit better how to use a crowbill. So just a 3-4 foot pole with a big long spike on one side, a hammer on the other, and maybe an armor piercing spike on the end. I usually run with a bunch of foam throwing knives. They're not worth throwing just because of what they are, but they're great for poking someone with if I need to. But if we're going to get fully silly with it, bucket of knives. I have Sergeant Deplorable has a bucket with probably 15 foam knives in it, and I have, at our normal Nerf wars, I have chased people down and upended the bucket on them, and it is good fun.
I like the what I've used before. Drat. I was thinking of like actual Nerf melee weapons.
That's a
But that wasn't specified. That was not specified
This
in
is
here.
true. This is true.
Banana has been a pretty good melee weapon. If I had to choose from Nerf's lineup though, I like their chainsaw because that makes me happy. But I can also rev it up.
Yeah, that is.
And attach it to something and just run around and swish.
For Nerf, I kind of like the Walking Dead katanas. Or they're more like a ninja do, but I like them. I like the length. I like the style. Just as melee of any kind, I'm actually a big fan of the Footman's Warhammer. About a 6-foot Warhammer for just ruining someone's day. But I think my all-time favorite is still the Bill, which is just the meanest looking polearm anyone has ever developed, and it's just gorgeous. I have one somewhere. In like Idaho. Tell you, what do you like bludgeoning people with?
Does the bucket of knives count?
Bucket of knives absolutely counts.
That's my favorite melee weapon then.
Yeah.
The
but
bucket
again,
or just the knife?
I want to build my own. I want to build a tactical bucket of knives. It's got like Molly on it and attachments and a scope.
But I'd also agree with the captain. The Walking Dead katanas are nice if you want something that you can actually purchase and not have to make. A bucket of knives.
Demolish your rocket on your finger.
You can't go wrong with that. I mean, really.
Your foam finger though. What does that?
Yo, the foam finger. It's fun, but I wouldn't. Sure, let's just go with that. It's just easier.
Bowie knife.
For small, I like a kukri.
They're pretty good. Yeah. I like the history behind it too.
Especially for Gurkhas.
Yeah.
And for taking off limbs, for like killing zombies.
Don't mess with it.
No.
Don't mess with a Gurkha.
No. And number 2, do you think there is a safe way to make a Nerf bouncing Betty? Probably not, because the amount of force required to make one actually bounce up that high, if you were to, say, bounce it up into somebody's nether regions, it would ruin their day.
To make it effective and safe, you'd want to make it maybe down to knee height.
Yeah.
And then it's not really a bouncing
It's not really
Betty.
much a bouncing Betty.
And how are you going to get it to detonate? That's a very difficult build.
Yeah. Boston Black, if you could have only one ship of any kind from Star Wars, what would it be and why?
TIE Interceptor. So I've flown one since 1994. They say that TIE pilots are suicidal. They say TIE Interceptor pilots are suicidal and bloodthirsty. I'll take that.
Eclipse Star Destroyer.
Let me think on it.
I'm a basic man. I'll say X-wing. That is basic.
Yeah, I believe my favorite starship is Death Star. Why not?
Oh, okay, Christopher Walken. Jeez.
I don't know if that's really a ship.
It's a space
It's a
station.
space station.
It's more like a small. It's more like a small moon.
Fine.
Veto!
Wrong.
But I like the thought.
Chewbacca's corpse with a rocket pack.
He's not dead yet.
Who said he was? It's just like.
Aerodynamics on that would be horrific.
But all the fur helps.
You got a visceral reaction from a man who knows nothing about Star Wars.
Are you just making noise in the background on purpose at this point? Clicky noises and
Your
stuff.
it's all running right now.
This is true.
For people using your.
They are going to hear that light up there making a buzz. Talk!
Oh, right, answering the question. I'll take the Falcon. It has plot armor.
Yeah, that is true.
I like the Eclipse Superstar Destroyer because it looks really good.
Now, you said one ship. You did not limit it to a class, so I'm gonna have to go with a Super Star Destroyer. That level of firepower and also the aesthetic. Spite and aesthetic. Mm-hmm.
Millennium Falcon, because Han Solo's a badass.
Blake Schneider. What is everyone's favorite candy?
I like Ritter Sport milk chocolate.
My favorite candy is dirt candy. Marionberries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, cherries before they hit the dirt, plums. Bananas. I like fruit.
I am a candy corn guy. It is honey and wax and nothing else, and it is amazing. Bear in mind that I'm a type 1 diabetic, and that's a problem.
I'm a big fan of chocolate.
M&M's?
I don't actually know. Crunch bars.
Oh, good choice.
Nestle is
Made by
evil.
evil Nestle.
But they're
Can't
so
eat
good.
them anymore.
I will say that Reese's. I like chocolate peanut butter. It's hard to not.
Changing my answer. Reese's.
What?
Changing
No,
my answer.
Rolos.
I was about to say Reese's.
Not Twix for religious reasons.
That's right. That's what I figured it was going to be the first answer.
The jelly beans, you get more flavors.
Really?
Yes. Well, I guess Skittles, you also get more flavors, but those are like...
There's only one way for us to know. We're going to need you to send us all of the candy in all of the land, and we will try it all one by one, and then diabetes, and Nick will reign supreme because he has all of the insulin. Twix, for religious reasons.
Don't usually eat candy. I don't have much of a sweet tooth. I like sweet drinks. Tim Tams are the exception.
Tim Tams.
Mustache.
Eric Lee, question to any of the crew the good captain can get a hold of from the days of medieval recreation. What is your preferred weapon to use in normal combat for, say, a banner war? Well, I like the bill and a bow and a sword. Let's talk to the crew.
My loadout consisted of a large tower shield, a short sword, a secondary short sword, 2 javelins, and the throwing axe. I might have been a tank. Everyone had a great deal of role. Most of our guys were heavy infantry and medium infantry, with an emphasis on using as many missile weapons as we could carry into the field.
Again, sword and shield, that would be for melee, and then normally I would just do archery, which, let me tell ya, combat archery is a lot different than regular archery because of the foam ends. So when you get accurate with the foam ends, you'll get super accurate with the other one, or it'll be very weird because you don't have to worry about the weight or like wind resistance and all that stuff, so then you're way off. So I would bow and arrow or sword and shield.
Well, I only went to practice, so I can't answer this question.
I gave him a sword and shield and hit him in the head.
A lot.
So they're right.
Wow, why have I not been to one of these before then? Like their picture? Oh my god! It's like I'm really there!
And it's somebody else.
That's pretty much the experience.
Crushing YouTube terms of service.
Well, that was before my time, but I really like the idea of getting into it. And if I had enough armor on, then I'd probably go with a poleaxe, a halberd, something that you can really wail. But if I was doing shield and something, it would probably shield and Morningstar.
Blanket toys. How would you use woodworking in Nerf modding?
Make a stock.
Make a stock. Make a stock.
Make a stock, yeah. Joshua Robles. 1. Do you collect any of the Halo Mega Blocks? No, I don't play Halo for the same reason that I don't play Call of Duty. Makes me sick. Christopher Goodrow. Is it within reasonable possibility that you could make a nail biter into a mag-fed blaster? No. We're going to unbox Chronoxen. Because he really did buy 20 Chronoxen to take bath with him.
We don't get these in Australia.
Yeah. Ryan Perkins. For the captain. Have you considered making a Mark 1 Iron Man armor to go with your dual flamethrower proton pack build? Not really.
If you can make it fly.
Yeah. Could you please make a tutorial on making the Magnus Master Key? I know there are videos out there, but a newer one would be nice. Yes, we will be doing a whole standard issue Strife build where we actually get the kits done, and I will go through how to best install it, where to cut it, why to cut it, how to cut it. Oh, God.
relatively easy to put balls in there. Balls.
You're a ball sack on fingers.
Bad word.
Robert, mods, and reviews. What's the most frustrating thing you have ever encountered in your years of nerfing? Bad attitudes. Which is weird in Nerf. Because it's Nerf.
We're running around with kids' toys being silly. How
Yeah,
can you have a bad
you get
attitude?
people who get all bent out of shape about the silliest things. Alright, we're going to look at some loot now. Because I've got packages to open, and this man brought a suitcase of boodle from Australia.
Got a lot of stuff. New hats. New hats. New hats. Hats.
New hats. Yeah. New hats. New hats. Hats. Hats!
That's new hats.
It is new hats.
Here.
That was our talking rocket.
We need that.
Bruh. Can't talk without the rocket. Punch!
Nintendo?
I'm a fool for a shift! Ah! Not again.
Oh God, you're still here. Why? Why are you following me around?